the razor's edge. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button, hit like, and drop a comment if you're ready to walk inside the most unforgiving prisons in America. Trust me, what you're about to hear isn't for the faint of heart. The morning sun barely cut through the iron-gray clouds hanging over the Texas plains, casting long shadows over the concrete walls of the Ramsey Unit. Somewhere inside, an inmate named Caleb Morris tightened his grip on a ragged blanket, listening to the echo of clanging metal doors and the shouted orders of guards who seemed to patrol with the cold precision of predators. Caleb wasn't new to trouble. He'd served time in other states, but Texas had a reputation that sent a chill even through hardened men. Here, every misstep wasn't just punished, it was weaponized against you. Outside the prison gates, Detective Laura Vega adjusted the brim of her hat, staring at the cell blocks through binoculars. A tip had brought her here in the dead of night. A contraband shipment, something dangerous enough to stir trouble in a system already running on fear. The caller had been anonymous, but the tone of urgency was unmistakable. Someone inside was hiding something, and someone else might already be dead. Inside, Caleb's world had shrunk to routine. Wake, line up, labor in the heat, count, repeat. But today, routine fractured. A guard's sharp whistle split the air, and a fellow inmate, whispered warnings escaping his cracked lips, motioned toward the yard. Something's wrong, not just wrong, dead wrong. Caleb's stomach twisted. Instinct screamed that today would be different. And it was. Vega's radio crackled with an alert. A body had been found outside the main dining hall. Not just any body, a man in his 30s, eyes wide in a frozen expression of terror, hands bound with rough twine, and a note pinned to his chest. He saw too much. The words alone sent a shiver down Vega's spine. Whoever had done this knew exactly how to make fear palpable. The prison was no longer just a cage. It was a trap designed to terrify, to test limits, and to control through terror. The guards formed a perimeter, tension radiating like heat from the sun-baked concrete. Caleb slipped through the confusion, unnoticed, drawn by a mix of curiosity and a gnawing dread. The yard smelled of sweat, dust, and iron. His eyes scanned for the source of the whispering chaos. And then he saw him, a shadow darting behind a supply shed, carrying what looked like a metal briefcase, moving with deliberate stealth. Caleb's pulse jumped. The man wasn't just sneaking, he was orchestrating something bigger. Something lethal. Detective Vega approached the crime scene, crouching near the body, her gloved hands tracing faint marks around the twine. Someone had been meticulous. Every step screamed planning. This wasn't a random attack, she muttered into her recorder. This was a message. And in a place like Texas prisons, messages were meant to be read loud and clear. Meanwhile, Caleb edged closer to the shed. The metal briefcase vibrated faintly with an unidentifiable weight, and the shadowy figure hummed a low, almost satisfied tune. Caleb's instincts screamed, "Leave," but his curiosity outweighed fear, a dangerous combination. He peeked through a crack in the shed's wall and froze. The briefcase wasn't full of cash or contraband. It held stacks of files, records, pictures, evidence, names of inmates, past altercations, secret deals, and something far worse, coded messages detailing how to manipulate guards, incite fights, and cover up murders. Caleb swallowed hard. Whoever had put these together wasn't just a prisoner, they were running a hidden empire inside the walls. And now, Caleb realized he had seen too much. The metallic click of the shed door behind him made his blood run cold. A voice whispered, "Curiosity kills, Caleb. Or maybe it just drags you down further." He spun around. The figure from the shadows stepped into the dim light, face partially obscured, eyes glinting with dangerous intelligence. The walls of Ramsey Unit weren't just designed to punish, they were designed to break men, and Caleb had just stumbled into a game far bigger than himself. But when he looked down at the briefcase, he noticed one file left open, a photo pinned with a single word, "Betrayal." And just like that, everything changed. Before we get deeper, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and comment your thoughts. What happens next will make you question everything you thought you knew about justice behind bars. Caleb's heart thundered in his chest as the shadowy figure leaned closer, the dim light catching the glint of a knife at his belt. "You weren't supposed to see this," the man whispered, voice smooth but menacing. The briefcase lay open on the dusty shed floor, files spilling across the concrete, each one a map of deception, alliances, and lethal secrets inside the prison. Caleb's mind raced. He needed to get out, and fast, but something deeper rooted inside him, the drive to understand who was orchestrating the chaos. Detective Vega, meanwhile, had begun interviewing staff and inmates. She quickly realized the prisoner body discovered wasn't an isolated incident. Rumors of disappearances, silenced witnesses, and secret hierarchies within the Ramsey Unit pointed to a system far darker than official records admitted. One officer, nervous and pale, muttered, "It's not just the inmates you have to watch. Some of the guards, they're as dangerous as the men they oversee." Vega's pulse quickened. The investigation was no longer confined to the yard. It had seeped into every cell, every shadowed corridor, every corner of authority. Caleb's curiosity pushed him further. The files revealed names of inmates who were supposedly dead, but records suggested they were alive, working secretly to manipulate events within the prison. One name stood out: Marcus Hill. Known as the Architect, Hill was rumored to be untouchable, a ghost in the system who could orchestrate violence, bribe guards, and eliminate threats without ever leaving a trace. The revelation hit Caleb like a punch to the gut. If Hill existed, he was more than just a criminal. He was a living embodiment of the prison's brutality, a man who had mastered the art of control and fear. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside the shed. Caleb froze, heart hammering. He shoved the files back into the briefcase, but not before noting one particularly alarming document: a coded schedule detailing inmate transfers, surveillance blind spots, and, most chilling of all, a hit list targeting anyone who had knowledge of the Architect's operations. His name wasn't on it yet. The shadow figure stepped back, hand raised, almost contemplative. "You have two choices, Caleb. Walk away now and forget you saw anything. Or stay and become part of something bigger than yourself. Dangerous? But powerful." Caleb's mind raced. Every instinct screamed to leave, but the lure of understanding the full extent of the prison's darkness was magnetic. He took a deep breath. "I need to know," he whispered. Vega's investigation intersected with Caleb's path that very night. A guard reported an unaccounted movement near the shed, prompting Vega to follow a trail of footprints that led straight to Caleb's hiding spot. The tension spiked as she crouched behind a stack of pallets, watching him stare at the briefcase, frozen in indecision. She raised her radio but paused. Something in the air felt off. The danger wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Whoever was orchestrating this had minds twisted to manipulate fear, loyalty, and betrayal. The calm of the prison night shattered. Alarms blared. Guards flooded the area, shouting commands and firing warning shots. Caleb spun toward the shed door and froze. The shadow figure was gone. Vanished. The briefcase was untouched, but one crucial file was missing, the one marked Betrayal. Someone had taken it. Detective Vega sprinted to Caleb. "We need to move," she shouted, pulling him toward a side exit she had discovered during her surveillance. Caleb's chest burned as adrenaline coursed through his veins. Every shadow now seemed alive, every whisper a potential threat. Outside, the night wind whipped through the prison yard, carrying with it the scent of danger, the echo of metal gates, and the knowledge that the true mastermind was still in control. And then the phone rang in Vega's police vehicle. She answered, voice tense. A distorted, cold voice said, "You think you're helping him? You're just another piece on the board. Step closer, and the next file will be yours." The line went dead. Caleb's eyes met hers. "They know we're on to them," he said. And in that moment, the reality hit harder than any prison sentence. Survival wasn't just about obeying the rules anymore. It was about outsmarting a man who had already turned the system into a weapon. Behind them, the Ramsey Unit loomed like a fortress of nightmares, its walls hiding secrets that could destroy anyone foolish enough to dig too deep. And Caleb knew, without a doubt, that what he had uncovered was only the beginning. Because in Texas prisons, nothing is ever what it seems, and some betrayals are meant to be discovered too late. Before we step into the final chapter, if you're still here, hit subscribe and like. Comment if you think you can survive what's about to unfold, because this is where Texas prisons show their true face. Caleb and Detective Vega moved cautiously through the outer perimeter of the Ramsey Unit, the stolen file burned into his memory. Every step felt heavier, the night darker. The threat wasn't just physical anymore. It was strategic, psychological. The architect, Marcus Hill, was playing a game with rules no one could see. And Caleb was now a key player. Inside the prison, the cell blocks were alive with tension. Whispers of the missing file had spread, and inmates who normally kept to themselves now eyed each other with suspicion. Every corner hid potential danger, every face could be a betrayer. Caleb's pulse throbbed as he followed Vega to a maintenance tunnel that led to the administrative wing. The file had contained names of corrupt guards, secret alliances, and plans to control inmate movements. Whoever controlled that information controlled the prison itself. They reached the tunnel's end and paused, listening. Footsteps echoed above, slow, deliberate. Then a voice, calm, almost amused, cut through the darkness. "I knew someone like you would come looking." Hill stepped out from the shadows, impeccably dressed in a guard's uniform. His eyes were sharp, calculating, and unflinching. Curiosity, it kills more than cats in this place. And yet, here you are alive. Caleb's mind raced. How had Hill moved so freely? How had he evaded every lockdown, every watchful eye? Vega's hand hovered near her weapon. She understood instantly, Hill wasn't just a prisoner. He was the system. Every protocol, every blind spot, every whispered order had been orchestrated by him for years. Hill smiled, almost human, almost friendly. "You think the walls confine me? They don't. The walls are tools, and every man in this prison a piece on the board. You've seen the file, yes? But the real game isn't in the paper. It's in knowing who to trust." Caleb swallowed hard. The files had only shown surface-level secrets. The deeper truth, the manipulations, the murders, the alliances, were all Hill's doing. "Why?" Caleb whispered. "Why risk everything?" Hill's smile twisted. "Control. Survival. Fear, it's currency in here. I didn't create the prison. I just learned to use it." Suddenly, alarms blared. Hill's momentary amusement vanished. The guards weren't his, not this time. Vega's backup had arrived, cutting off his escape routes. Hill's composure faltered, but only for a moment. With calculated precision, he lunged toward a concealed panel in the wall, vanishing into the bowels of the prison, leaving behind only the echo of his laughter. Vega and Caleb chased him through a labyrinth of maintenance corridors, but Hill had prepared the path. False doors, hidden passages, and coded security measures slowed them, turning the hunt into a deadly maze. In the chaos, Caleb realized something horrifying. Hill had anticipated this confrontation. Every move, every countermeasure, planned. And the missing file? Likely already in Hill's hands. They cornered him in a forgotten storage room, dimly lit, filled with decades of discarded prison records. Hill stood calm, almost bored, as if the chase had been a formality. "Do you really think capturing me changes anything?" he asked, voice echoing off rusted metal. "The system doesn't care about justice. It never has. It only cares about power. And power? I control it." A tense standoff ensued. Caleb's adrenaline surged, Vega's finger hovered over the trigger. Hill's eyes darted to a small window, then back. In a split second he tossed a flash device, filling the room with blinding light and choking smoke. When vision cleared, he was gone. Weeks later, official reports declared the chase over. Hill had disappeared without a trace. The Ramsey Unit returned to its grim routine, but those who knew the truth, Caleb, Vega, a handful of investigators, understood the chilling reality. The prison's true danger wasn't the walls, the guards, or the gangs. It was the ghost in control, the architect who could pull strings from anywhere. Caleb stared at the prison from a distant hill, the sunset painting the walls in blood-orange light. He had survived, but the shadow of Hill lingered. And then came the call. A new inmate had arrived, quietly transferred, file already marked with the signature phrase, "Betrayal." Vega answered the call, voice tight. It's happening again, she said. Caleb's stomach sank. The architect wasn't done. Never done. They thought the mastermind was gone, but in Texas prisons, the most dangerous men never truly disappear. And the real game had only just begun. The story ends with a haunting, suspenseful twist, leaving room for tension and continued curiosity for your audience. If you want, I can also create a highly clickable SEO title, description, and viral hashtag package tailored for this story to maximize views and engagement on YouTube. Do you want me to do that next?